What's going on, everyone? It's Bonkers12. Gonna do a quick neck turning video. How to use the Sinclair NT-1500 neck turning tool. It's a hand tool. Now, before get into it, I'm gonna go over some of the reasons why you might neck turn. Basically, the reason for neck turning is to ensure you have complete consistency throughout the case neck. As you see, ones I've already done before. This one that I've already done, these ones right here. You want to make sure basically that this case mouth is the same thickness all the way around. If you have a case that is thick on one side and thin on another side, what that does is basically your neck tension is not proper all the way around, so that the bullet will ever so slightly seat inside the chamber, and when it rams into the chamber, goes in, it'll go at a cockeyed angle. So what we're going to be doing here is taking care of that and taking excess material off the outside of that case neck, so that when you resize this case back, again, it's going to be equal neck tension all the way around, and your bullet should be completely centered from the very tip all the way to the back of the base of the bullet. So what you get in the box, I bought this from Brownells. It's the Sinclair NT-1500 neck turning tool, along with the Sinclair standard 7/8 expander die. You're going to need both of these. Alright, right here is the actual tool. Right here you get. Here is the hand tool. We're not going to use today because we're going to use a power drill and make this go a lot faster. So we're not going to be using that, but that's where you actually put the case in here and run it by hand. So not going to be using that. Right here you have your mandrels. These ones are for the 6.5. I already have the 308 set up. You're going to have an expander mandrel, which is going to go in right here. We're going to press. Here's your expander mandrel. Basically another die you set in there. Inside there is this mandrel right here that sets in and expands your case neck out to where it's it is able to fit around the actual neck turning mandrel. So you got your neck turning mandrel and you got your expander mandrel. You're gonna need both of them for whatever caliber you're gonna go. Like I said, we're doing 308 today. So what I've done already before, I've already neck sized this. I'm shooting out of a Savage bolt gun, so I've already neck sized all these, and I'm just going to do 5, so it'll be a short. But basically neck sized all the brass, and what I'm going to be doing now is going to be expanding these 5 cases, expanding the case neck, so that when they go over your actual cutting mandrel, as you see right now, I haven't expanded these. They won't fit over that mandrel. They will if you smash it on there, but it's not gonna. You're gonna be spinning your case inside of there. So you're gonna need that. Like I said, today we're gonna be using a power drill, make it a lot faster. Excuse me. So as far as setting this thing up, setting up the expander mandrel is pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty easy. Take this off real quick, show you. Show this real quick. Alright, so this thing's pretty basic. It's just basically a blank die, hollow die. The back part screws off inside. You got your expander mandrel. Now this one, like is basically all the case does. It's a little bit bigger than your actual neck turning mandrel. All it is basically jumps up the neck size so that it's able to fit onto the neck turning mandrel. So you put that in there, screw it down tight. Now as far as getting the distance, you can read the directions, but as far as getting the distance, all you really got to do is make sure that the case neck goes all the way through, and that whenever you're doing this, you don't put this on here and ram it all the way up home, because if you do that, you'll smash the case. You'll smash your case down if you got, if you freaking put some donkey dick freaking strength on there. Now, as far as setting up the tool, up, as you can see, here's the cutting mandrel here. Light's kind of shady, but you have two set screws right here, and you have kind of a little marks on the back where you can set through. This right here, all you're going to be doing is taking the mandrel off this set screw right here, loosening it, and putting this in there. Now, when you're putting this in here, you want to make sure that you have your cases trimmed to the exact length if you're going to be using the backstop here, because if your cases are a different length, what this does is you put it in there and the case, the end of the case will bottom out on here so that you get the consistent distance that you're pushing through the case every single time. So if you're going to be using that, make sure all your cases are about the same length so that you're not cutting different lengths on the case neck. This set screw right here is what you adjust your cutter with. The cutter is angled on the end. On the end, if you can see that right there, it's angled so that it won't dig into that shoulder, the case neck shoulder, if you go too far in. Now once you get it set, I have right now mine set at 1400ths, 0.014 is my case neck thickness I'm going for. Now once you have it set, you can actually back the screw off, the adjustment screw, back and forth, but it won't move anywhere, so don't freak out if it comes back. It'll back off, but that set screw, once you tighten it up, will keep it in there. So if you want further direction, read the instructions. They're pretty self-explanatory, but once you have your set, you're pretty much good to go until you have to change calipers. So that's set there. So what we're going to be doing here, like I said, I already have these cases neck sized. I'm going to put these through the mandrel, the expander mandrel. Now what I like to do is once you put them up there, you can kind of feel where that end of the case touches the back side of that die there, so you don't want to, like I said, ram it all the way home. What I like to do is kind of keep it sitting up there for about 5 to 6 seconds so that it gets that brass completely expanded out, so that when you use the tool, you're not turning your case inside your drill or inside your actual hand tool. Now you can use this. This comes with the kit. You can use it. I just don't use it because it's really slow and it takes a long time to basically freaking twist it all the way on, twist all the way back off, and it gets it pretty smooth if you use the drill. If you use a drill or a power drill or something like that, it actually does it a lot quicker and a lot better because it makes it pretty smooth. It gets every single piece off that case. So all those are expanded. So just here, show you. Alright, so I'm going to do with the drill. Alright, I have one that's basically the case will fit perfectly for the 308 case. If you have a lapel or Win Mag or something like that, you might have to step it up and get some sort of adapter on there or something. But what I do is tighten on there. You don't want to wrench it on there with your chuck, because you'll freaking put a bunch of dents in the back of your case. So what I'm going to do here, Archer, get down out of here, bud. What I'm going to do here, set it up. Now as you can see before, when I put that case up there, it didn't go on. Now it actually kind of goes on a little bit better. So you have to expand it, especially if you neck size all your brass. Now the reason I neck sized them before I did this process was because if you don't, then your case will be too wide and it'll wobble around on this mandrel, and you won't get a perfectly even cut all the way around. Alright, so I have that there. Basically put it in one hand, start the drill slow. You start it on there. You can see you're taking off material. I have it bottomed out. Just go back and forth until you don't pull off any material. Just like that. Take it off. And as you can see, nice and shiny all the way around. Now, as I said before, I was turning them down to 1400ths. These weren't too far off anyway. They're all about 15. I'm basically taking 100ths off of there. So measure with the calipers. Right there on 14. Goes around 13.8 13, a little fifth, whatever, 14, and 14 again. So it gets them pretty freaking straight all the way around. So once you do that, now as you see, it kind of went to the shoulder just a little bit, but that's not too bad as long as you're not digging all the way into that shoulder, like basically taking that shoulder material off. That's bad, because now you're gonna put stress on that case and create weak spots on the case. So once again, put it in there, do a little snug, don't crank it down. Now, once you get used to it, you can kind of feel where that shoulder's at, where you're starting to not cut any material off anymore. As you can see, cuts it down pretty good. It's pretty good, pretty slick tool. Now, if you're asking why I'm doing 1400s, it's just a number I use just to make everything uniform. And this is just federal brass that I've shot the got some Sierra 175 grain, the 7.62 by 5.1, not the 308 casing. These are a little bit thicker. But this, I think these are 4th time shot. These are 4th time shot. Now, if you're kind of wondering when to neck turn, and it's kind of really up to you and your gun. A lot of people like to do it at like 4th or 5th time, and then they kneel them too, and just basically get them all uniform. It really depends on your gun. If your gun is your chamber is a little bit off, and it's every time you shoot the gun, your brass expands to the dimension of the chamber. And if your chamber is kind of off a little bit, a little thicker on one side than the other, and your brass, especially gas guns, then you're going to have to neck turn a little bit more often. But probably, I would say in a bolt gun, you probably have to neck turn throughout the life of the case. If you're getting, with Lapua brass or thick federal or some kind of Lake City brass, if you're getting out of a bolt gun 15, 16 loadings, you're probably going to have to neck turn at the most twice. These really didn't need to be neck turned. I just figured I'd do them because might as well get it over with. They were all pretty much around 1500s. So. Those 2 cases done. Now, what I'll do from here is, let's take a look at these things now. What I'll do from here is clean these up, wipe off the edges. I'll run them back through my neck sizing die, because that expanded the case out. So I'm gonna run back through the neck sizing die, get them back down to specs again, and then I'll continue with ultrasounding, frickin' tumbling, the regular case prepping shit. So hope you learned a little bit of stuff, and hope you figured out how to use it. But once again, this is the Sinclair NT-1500 neck turning tool.